My name is Lorraine Rain Buchanan. I'm 83 years old, and last year my two children dragged me to court because I started dating a 65-year-old biker named Duke Thunder Malone, and according to them, lost my ever-loving mind. They wanted me declared incompetent, the house on Meeting Street sold, and me locked in a nice quiet facility where I couldn't embarrass the family name anymore. Instead, I won the case, changed my will on the courthouse steps, and left every dime of the $19 million Buchanan Trust to Duke's motorcycle club, the Iron Saints of the Low Country. The judge is still laughing. Let me take you back to the beginning. I was married to Dr. Walter Buchanan for 55 years. He died in 2021. Left me the 1856 antebellum on Meeting Street, the beach house on Sullivan's Island, and a trust big enough to make grown men cry. We had two children. Dr. Walter Jr., some 49, cardiothoracic surgeon, thinks smiling causes wrinkles. And Elizabeth, 56, chairman of the Charleston Preservation Society, thinks fun is a four-letter word. They've spent the last 3 years monitoring my decline. The decline started when I bought a Harley Davidson Fat Boy in Daytona Blue Pearl for my 82nd birthday and learned to ride it myself in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. Then I met Duke. He rolled into my life at the Low Country Harley Rally. 6'3", silver beard, leather vest patched with 30 years of road stories, and the gentlest hands I've ever known. We danced to Lynyrd Skynyrd in the sand, drank beer from the bottle, and talked until sunrise about everything and nothing. 3 months later, he moved into the carriage house. 6 months later, I was wearing his property patch on the back of my own leather jacket. My children lost their minds. Walter Jr. stopped speaking to me, unless it was to say, "Mother, this is beneath you." Elizabeth sent me articles about late-life crisis and predatory younger men. When I told them Duke and I were taking a cross-country ride to Sturgis, they scheduled an emergency family meeting. That meeting ended with them serving me papers. Petition for guardianship reason. Incapacity. Due to reckless and dangerous behavior, they wanted control of everything. I looked at the papers, looked at my terrified children, and said the first thing that came to mind. "See you in court, darlings." Then I went home, put on my leathers, and rode off into the sunset with Duke laughing on the back of my bike. The fight of my life was about to begin, and I had never felt more alive. The guardianship hearing was set for October 12th in Charleston County Probate Court. My children hired the most expensive elder law firm in the state. They brought medical records, pharmacy logs, even a video of me doing a burnout in the Harris Teeter parking lot. I was showing Ava, Duke's 6-year-old granddaughter, how the big girls ride. Their expert psychiatrist, paid $25,000 for 2 days, testified that I was suffering from late-onset bipolar mania with risky sexual behavior and clearly unable to manage my affairs. Walter Jr. took the stand in a 3-piece suit and actually cried about how Mother has been taken advantage of by a criminal element. Elizabeth brought a PowerPoint titled Timeline of Decline. That ended with a photo of me in leather chaps and Duke's arm around me, captioned Public Humiliation of the Buchanan Name. I sat at the defense table in my Sunday best. Black suit, pearls, and the tiniest smirk I could manage. My attorney, Letitia Beaumont, yes, she keeps showing up because she loves a good fight, waited until they rested their case. Then she called her first witness, me. I, the judge, the Honorable Dolores Washington, who once dated my late husband in college, said, "Mrs. Buchanan, you may tell the court in your own words what has been happening." I stood up, walked to the witness stand without my cane, and spoke clear enough for the court reporter and God to hear. "Your Honor, I'm 83, not 83 months. I ride a motorcycle because it makes me feel alive. I'm dating a man 18 years younger because he makes me laugh harder than my late husband ever did. God rest his boring soul. And if loving loud music, loud colors, and a loud man is a crime, then lock me up and throw away the key. But you'll have to catch me first. The gallery, packed with iron saints in their cuts, and half the Charleston Garden Club burst out laughing. Letitia played the ace up her sleeve. Medical exam from 3 independent neurologists. Mrs. Buchanan is in full possession of her faculties. Video of me passing the Harley road test at 82. Bank records showing every dime I've spent has been thoughtful and deliberate. Then she called Duke. He walked in wearing his vest, but no colors. Respect for the court. Took the oath and answered every question like a gentleman. When Walter's lawyer sneered, "Isn't it true? You're only with Mrs. Buchanan for her money?" Duke looked him dead in the eye. "Sir, I was riding Harleys before your client could spell trust fund. I don't need her money. I need her." There's a difference. The courtroom went quiet enough to hear hearts breaking, mostly my children's. Letitia rested. Judge Washington didn't even leave the bench. Case dismissed with prejudice. Mrs. Buchanan is clearly competent, spirited, and living her best life. Petitioners will pay all court costs and Mrs. Buchanan's legal fees. And Mrs. Buchanan, you keep riding safe. She banged the gavel, then added with a grin, "Court stands in recess until I get a ride on that Harley." The Iron Saints cheered. My children looked like they'd been slapped with a wet fish. I walked out of that courthouse on Duke's arm while cameras flashed and strangers applauded. But I wasn't done. Not even close. We didn't go home right away. Duke took me to the Tattooed Moose on Morrison Drive, where half the Iron Saints were already waiting with cold beer and a reserved table under a sign that read, "Welcome home, Reign Queen of the Low Country." They presented me with a brand new property patch stitched on the back of a white leather vest. Property of Thunder Iron Saints, Charleston. I put it on over my court pearls and posed for pictures, while strangers bought rounds, and the jukebox played Free Bird. My children's lawyers sent a frantic email demanding an emergency family meeting. I replied with a single photograph. Me on Duke's bike, vest blazing white, giving the camera a one-finger salute with a huge grin. Caption, "Meeting adjourned permanently." The next morning, Letitia met me at the house with coffee and a fresh stack of papers. "Rain, the kids are going to try again. They're talking about appealing, maybe even criminal elder abuse charges against Duke." I laughed so hard I had to sit down. Let them. But first, I want to rewrite my will. Everything. Today, Letitia didn't blink. "Who gets it?" I told her. She whistled low. "That's nuclear." I smiled. "Exactly." By 4 p.m. that afternoon, I had signed a brand new revocable living trust, pour-over will, and updated beneficiary designations on every account. Primary beneficiary, the Iron Saints Motorcycle Club Charitable Foundation, a 501c3, Duke, had quietly started 10 years ago to help veterans and at-risk youth. Secondary beneficiaries, every individual member of the Charleston chapter who'd shown up to support me in court. Tertiary, a scholarship fund for female riders over 50. My children were left $1 each, the legal minimum to prevent contest, all my late husband's golf trophies, and a handwritten letter I'd sealed with red wax. Letitia recorded everything on video, had 2 notaries witness, and filed it with the county courthouse before close of business. Then we threw a party. The entire club rolled into my circular driveway at sunset. 50 bikes gleaming under the streetlights. We grilled steaks on the front lawn, played Skynet loud enough to rattle the chandelier, and danced on the porch until the neighbors called the police, who showed up, took one look at me in my new vest, and joined the party instead. At midnight, Duke got down on one knee in front of everybody and asked me to marry him for real. South Carolina ceremony, the whole thing. I said yes before he finished the sentence. My children found out about the engagement the same way they found out about the will. On the evening news, the headline, 82-year-old heiress engaged to biker after winning competency case, children devastated. I slept like a baby. The real fireworks were still coming. We got married on the first Saturday in May on the battery overlooking Charleston Harbor. 300 Iron Saints in full colors, half the city's police force, off duty and cheering. And every widow from my bridge club who wanted to see what living looks like. I wore white leather. Duke wore his cut. The officiant was a female army chaplain who rides a heritage Softail. My children were not only didn't come, they sent a cease and desist letter threatening to sue the chaplain for aiding elder abuse. She read it aloud during the ceremony, then used it to light the unity candle. We said vows we wrote ourselves. Duke, I promise to ride beside you, not in front of you, until the wheels fall off or the good Lord calls us home, whichever comes second. Me, I promise to keep the wind in your face and the greed out of our lives. For as many miles as we have left, the saints rever their engines instead of clapping. The sound rattled windows 3 blocks away. The reception was held on my front lawn. Tents, barbecue, a mechanical bull, and a bar made from Harley gas tanks. At 10 p.m. sharp, Letitia walked onto the makeshift stage with a projector and a microphone. Before the bride and groom ride off into the sunset, Mrs. Rain Buchanan Malone has one last announcement. The new will was projected on a 20-foot screen for the whole party, and the news helicopters overhead to see. Every asset listed, every zero counted, every beneficiary named, the Iron Saints Charitable Foundation and its members. My children's names appeared exactly once. To my biological children, Walter Buchanan Jr. and Elizabeth Buchanan Langford. I leave $1 each, and my sincere hope that they learn the difference between love and money before it's too late. The crowd went wild. Someone started chanting, "Rain, rain, rain." Duke picked me up, put me on the back of his bike, and we led a parade of 300 motorcycles down Meeting Street at midnight, American flags and wedding veil flying. My children watched from the sidewalk outside the gate. They used to think was theirs. They never said a word, but the newspapers did. Charleston's biker, Grandma Marais, cuts children out of $19 million estate in front of 300 bikers. The Iron Saints Foundation bought 10 acres outside Walterboro and broke ground on a veterans retreat the very next week. I still ride sidecar now because balance isn't what it was. Still wear my property patch and still wake up every morning next to a man who looks at me like I hung the moon. My children haven't spoken to me since the wedding, but every year on our anniversary, 2 anonymous envelopes show up at the clubhouse, one postmarked Charlotte, one Atlanta, containing $5,000 each and no note. I know who they're from. I cash them, buy new helmets for kids who can't afford them, and whisper to the wind, "Keep riding, babies. Redemption's a long road, but it's worth the trip." 5 years have passed since that midnight ride. I'm 88 now, still kicking, still riding, though Duke insists on the sidecar when we go longer than 50 miles. And still the unofficial queen of the Iron Saints Charleston chapter. The veterans retreat outside Walterboro is finished. 10 cabins, a mess hall, a garage full of loaner Harleys, and a fishing pond stocked with bass big enough to tell stories about. We named it Rain's Place. Every weekend, it's full of veterans healing, kids from troubled homes learning to wrench on bikes, and widows who just need a place to breathe. The original Meeting Street house is now the Iron Saints Women's Center. Free housing for female veterans and single mums getting back on their feet. My old bedroom is a nursery. The parlor where my children tried to declare me crazy is now a yoga studio. My biological children have gone quiet. Walter Jr. retired early after a malpractice suit that never quite went away. Elizabeth's Preservation Society presidency ended when the board asked her to step down. Neither has set foot in Charleston since the wedding, but every May on our anniversary, 2 envelopes still appear, one from Charlotte, one from Atlanta, with $5,000 each and no note. I stopped being angry a long time ago. Now I just smile, buy another round of helmets or diapers, and send a silent thank you into the universe. Duke and I spend half the year on the road, the other half at Rain's place. We've ridden to Sturgis 4 more times, danced at Bike Week in Daytona, and parked our bikes in front of the Grand Canyon just to watch the sunrise. Last year, the Iron Saints made me an official patched member, first woman, first octogenarian. My patch says, Rain Queen, Mother ride free or die. I wear it every single day. Sometimes reporters still ask him if I regret cutting my children out. I tell them the truth. I didn't cut them out. They cut themselves out the day they decided my happiness was worth less than their inheritance. I just made it official. Then I rev my engine and ride off before they can ask another dumb question. If you're ever on Highway 17 headed toward Charleston and see an old lady in white leather on a trike with Rain on the back passes you doing 70, with a silver-bearded man grinning in the sidecar, honk twice. That's us. Still living, still loving, still laughing at anyone who thought they could put us in a box. The best revenge isn't taking everything away. It's building something so beautiful with what's left that they can't look away. And honey, they can't look away. 10 years after the courtroom victory, I turned 93. The Iron Saints threw me the biggest party Charleston had ever seen. They shut down a 4-block stretch of East Bay Street. 5,000 bikers from 20 states rolled in, engines rumbling like summer thunder. The mayor gave me the key to the city. Again, the governor sent a proclamation declaring June 15th, Rain Buchanan Malone Day forever. I rode in on a custom purple trike the club built for me. Duke riding shotgun in the sidecar wearing the biggest grin south of the Mason-Dixon. We parked in front of the Meeting Street house, now officially renamed Rain's House by city council vote, and walked through an honor guard of 200 patched members holding their helmets over their hearts. Inside, every room was packed with the people who had become my real family. Veterans who'd found peace on our land. Single mums who'd finished college because someone paid tuition. Kids who'd learned to read on my porch swing. And Duke's chapter brothers who'd carried my casket at the fake funeral the club staged as a joke the year after the wedding. Empty, of course, with a bottle of Jack inside. At exactly 8:01 p.m., the lights dimmed and a video began on the giant screen we'd set up in the garden. It was me, filmed the week before, sitting on my bike at sunset. I spoke straight to the camera, voice steady as ever. 10 years ago, my children tried to bury me alive for money. Tonight, I'm here to bury something else. The idea that love has an age limit, that family is only who you're born to, and that a woman's best years are behind her the day she turns 50. I've lived more, loved harder, and laughed louder in the last decade than in the 73 years before it. So to every woman watching who's been told she's too old, too loud, too late, get on the damn bike, find your Duke, write your own ending, and if your children don't like the new chapters, let them read them from the sidewalk. The crowd roared so loud the chandelier shook. Then Duke took the stage, got down on one knee again, and held up a new patch. This one was black with gold letters. Rain founder Iron Saints, Mick Forever. He pinned it on my vest while 5,000 bikers chanted my name. My biological children weren't there. But 2 envelopes arrived the next day. One from Charlotte, one from Atlanta, with $10,000 each this time. I smiled, kissed the envelopes, and used used the money to buy 2 brand new Harley trikes for the women's riding program. Every year, the party gets bigger. Every year, the envelopes get heavier. Every year, I sleep beside a man who still looks at me like I'm the best thing on 2 wheels. Some people ask if I ever think about forgiving my children completely. I tell them I already have. Forgiveness doesn't mean letting them back in the will. It means letting them watch from the outside while I live the life they tried to take from me. And honey, this life, it's the sweetest ride I've ever known. If you're ever in Charleston on the 3rd Saturday in June, follow the sound of 5,000 engines. We'll be there. The porch light's always on. The road is always open. And there's always room for one more sister who decided it's never too late to burn rubber and raise hell. Ride free. Love. Live. Rain out.